In the small town of Ravenwood, nestled deep in the heart of the dense, foreboding woods, a sense of dread hung heavy in the air. The townsfolk whispered of dark legends and eerie occurrences that seemed to permeate the very fabric of their existence. Among these chilling tales was one that struck fear into the hearts of even the bravest souls, the legend of Despertar das Sombras. According to local lore, Despertar das Sombras was an ancient curse that lay dormant for centuries, waiting for the right moment to unleash its wrath upon the unsuspecting inhabitants of Ravenwood. The curse was said to be tied to a long-forgotten ritual performed by a mysterious cult that dwelled in the depths of the nearby woods, their dark deeds shrouded in secrecy and malevolence. As the sun set on Ravenwood one fateful evening, a group of curious teenagers gathered at the abandoned Silverwood Manor, a decaying mansion rumored to be haunted by the spirits of those who had fallen victim to the curse of Despertar das Sombras. Among them were Sarah, a bold and fearless girl with a penchant for adventure, and Jake, her loyal and level-headed best friend. As they explored the dilapidated halls of the manor, a sense of unease settled over the group. The air was thick with a palpable sense of foreboding, as if the very walls themselves were whispering tales of terror and woe. It was then that they stumbled upon an old film reel, its surface worn and faded with age. Intrigued, Sarah dusted off the reel and, with shaky hands, loaded it into an ancient projector that sat gathering dust in the corner of the room. The screen flickered to life, casting an eerie glow that illuminated the faces of the teens in an otherworldly light. As the images danced across the screen, a sense of dread settled over Sarah and Jake, their hearts pounding in rhythm with the escalating tension of the film. What they saw was a chilling depiction of the ritual of Despertar das Sombras, a dark and twisted ceremony that sent shivers down their spines. The cultists, clad in hooded robes and masks, chanted in an ancient, guttural tongue as they performed unspeakable acts of horror upon an innocent victim. The shadows seemed to come alive, twisting and contorting in an unholy dance that defied all reason and logic. As the film reached its crescendo, a piercing scream echoed through the manor, chilling the blood of Sarah and Jake to the core. They turned to see their friends frozen in terror, their eyes wide with fear as they stared into the darkness that now enveloped the room. And then, with a sickening jolt, the shadows began to move, their inky tendrils reaching out with malevolent intent. Sarah and Jake knew then that they were in the presence of something beyond their wildest nightmares, a force older and more powerful than anything they had ever encountered. With a steely resolve, they grabbed each other's hands and made a run for the exit, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls as they raced to escape the clutches of the curse that threatened to consume them. Outside, the night air was cold and unforgiving, the sounds of the forest alive with a malevolent energy that seemed to seep into their very bones. They knew that they were not safe, that the curse of Despertar das Sombras was not content to let them go so easily. And as they ran deeper into the woods, their hearts weighed down by fear and despair, they stumbled upon an ancient altar, its stone surface etched with arcane symbols and glyphs. It was there, in the shadow of the altar, that they faced the true horror of Despertar das Sombras. The cultists emerged from the darkness, their eyes glinting with a mad fervor as they advanced upon Sarah and Jake, their intentions clear and deadly. With nowhere left to run, the teens stood their ground, their backs pressed against the cold stone of the altar as the cultists closed in for the final strike. But just as all hope seemed lost, a blinding light pierced the darkness, bathing the clearing in an ethereal glow that banished the shadows and sent the cultists reeling in terror. It was then that a figure emerged from the light, their presence radiating a sense of calm and power that seemed to push back the malevolent forces that sought to destroy them. The figure spoke in a voice that was old and wise, telling Sarah and Jake of the true nature of Despertar das Sombras. It was not a curse, but a test, a trial of courage and strength that had been set in motion by forces beyond their understanding. The cultists, driven by fear and desperation, had sought to harness the power of the shadows for their own selfish ends, but in doing so, they had unleashed a darkness that threatened to consume them all. With a solemn nod, the figure extended a hand to Sarah and Jake, offering them a chance to redeem themselves and set things right. Together, they faced the shadows that writhed and roiled around them, their hearts filled with a newfound sense of purpose and determination. And as they stood united against the darkness, a brilliant light burst forth from their hearts, dispelling the shadows and banishing the curse of Despertar das Sombras once and for all. As the first light of dawn broke over Ravenwood, the townsfolk awoke to find the abandoned Silverwood Manor bathed in a golden glow, its decrepit walls now restored to their former glory. And as they ventured into the woods, they found Sarah and Jake standing at the edge of the clearing, their faces radiant with a sense of peace and fulfillment that had eluded them for so long. The legend of Despertar das Sombras had come to an end, its darkness vanquished by the courage and resilience of two unlikely heroes. And as the town of Ravenwood basked in the light of a new day, they knew that they would never forget the terrible price of arrogance and hubris, nor the power of the human spirit to overcome even the most insurmountable of challenges.